Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So today it looks like we are in the same boat for Bitcoin. Bitcoin not really moving too much. Right now we got a Bitcoin price of about 42,600. And I mean, it's looking like the trajectory is, still just kind of slowing down for Bitcoin after that spot ETF approval. Many were thinking we were going to see new highs. But guys, I tend to prescribe to the blockchain backers theory. Not necessarily that the market is overall bearish macro perspective, but we could in fact see that bearish move downward before that final leg up. Basically the same theory that I had, that we have several months before the halving occurs. So, kind of the same thing that happened here. That prolonged retracement, we got up to the 0.618 up here back in 2019 before we saw Bitcoin basically move down. Now, this was a black swan event, and this took around 259 days, guys. So don't forget, traditionally what we've seen in the past are these Bitcoin bull rallies. A cycle generally does take from top to top about 1,475 days. That was from 2013 to the top of the market in 2017. And this is just the Bitcoin chart, but generally the rest of the market does move in the same way. If we take this from the top here, 2017 to 2021, that took 1,422 days. Now, if I throw this on the weekly, and let's just see, where that would take us roughly if we were to take it from here and bring it all the way to, going way too far here, 1,400 and roughly in and around here. So let's call it October, November 2025. So the end of 2025, that is if we see this 0.618 retrace go down 20-30%. Blockchain backer was talking about this altcoin rally in the meantime. And guys, that might happen. We got to look out 2011 to 2013. Okay, this one from T Analyst here on Twitter. Bitcoin's bull run begins. Just take a look at these trends here. 2011 to 2013, we had the bear, the consolidation, and then finally the bull run. Same thing happened in 2014 to 2017, the bear, the consolidation, and then the bull run. 2018 to 2021, bear, consolidation, bull run up. And guys, we're just in and around here, okay? We still need that consolidation period. We did hit the 0.618. So Bitcoin could, in fact, go down more. We could see some more appreciation for altcoins. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. Of course, now people are switching their sentiment. Fearful. Greed is now at 63. You can see up here, too, Bitcoin dominance is down to 49.7%. We've got a mix of green and red in the crypto market. Solana's up a little bit, 5.5. We got XRP down a little bit, 0.57. But generally speaking, a mix of red and green in the market. Taking a look at XRP real quickly here. What do we got for XRP? Not really too much. This is XRP on the weekly, and we haven't really seen too much change since yesterday. Right now, we're seeing an XRP trading at just under 57 cents. But guys, take a look at this. This Nike swoosh pattern is still holding up. We're not seeing any lower lows, so that's very positive. All in due time, folks, all in due time. So wanted to thank T Analyst here for posting that. Michael Branch bringing this to our attention. I guess we can breathe easy now. The U.S. Treasury Department and the IRS have jointly declared a temporary halt to the enforcement of new reporting requirements related to digital assets. So we can breathe easy, at least for now, crypto holders. IRS postpones reporting requirements and simplifying taxes. So in a development that has been widely embraced by the cryptocurrency industry, the U.S. Treasury Department and the IRS have jointly declared a temporary halt to the enforcement of new reporting requirements related to digital assets. The decision comes as both agencies work on formulating regulations that elucidate the implications of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act on transactions involving cryptocurrencies. So this is a pivotal aspect of the 2021 Act that was the redefinition of digital assets as cash equivalents for reporting purposes, compelling businesses to disclose any receipts surpassing $10,000. It's interesting that they're calling digital assets cash equivalents, considering we got news and confirmation, I guess, from the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, talking about how cryptocurrencies are not, in fact, cash. And digital assets are something else. I talked about that yesterday. I will link that video up here in the top right-hand corner. Despite this being a significant shift, though, businesses can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being, as they are not obligated to adhere to this cash-like reporting requirement until specific regulations are formalized. So, guys, this is going to today's point, of this idea that stablecoin regulation is the first thing that they have to hammer out. I didn't realize how important this has become. I feel like it's become more important. I feel like the industry, the government, the regulators, everybody is realizing if we don't have solid stablecoin regulation, really there's too many loopholes, too many methods for onboarding, offboarding cryptocurrencies. maybe in an illegal fashion or behind the government's back or whatever. So they found this soft point, and it's looking as though this particular regulation for stablecoins specifically, they're focused on it for Q1 of 2024. And, even companies like Ripple and Stellar, guys, are backing this, and there is probably a good reason for that. Mass adoption for XRP XLM can only really be realized if we do have that formal regulation for all cryptocurrencies, including stablecoins. And since stablecoins are playing a big part in this, I have a feeling that this is probably what's on everybody's radar. I got Black Swan Capitalist here posting this. Can't stress this enough, okay? Central banks are stacking up on gold for a reason. It's not just for show. There's a major move behind closed doors towards a gold-backed blockchain-based settlement mechanism that levels the playing field. XRP, baby. Well, you got to think HSBC, a Ripple partner, did just recently make that announcement that they are going to settle gold on the blockchain. There's the Metaco connection there as well. They are a Ripple company now. Anyway, listen to this.
We don't want to get ruled by the U.S. on a worldwide basis. So particularly China, but Russia and India, some of the other countries are in the process of creating a dual system of payment, of currency to counteract the U.S. dollar. And so these central banks are buying gold as a reserve currency. Will they use gold to back a new currency or a basket of currency? Will they use a crypto kind of currency backed by the Chinese government? We don't know. What I do believe, though, is that at the end of the day, you will end up with a dual world in terms of system of payment and the currency you pay.
So guys, XRP, XLM ending up in a dual world. The currencies are going to be more than one. It may be two, it may be multiple currencies. They may be stable coins. They may be CBDCs. We just don't know. The fact of the matter, though, remains that tokenizing everything on the blockchain will make that process very, very easy for anybody to transact anything of value from point A to point B. And so that is their main focus. Getting there is going to be part of the challenge. But guys, it is happening. The crypto market has only grown and will continue to do so over the years. This one courtesy of Cyprus Domenicor here on Twitter. This is from the Crypto Expo in Dubai. Listen to this.
It's a bumpy ride, what's happening in the world of blockchain and crypto, I think. It's up and down. People are afraid. A lot of things has happened. But what we see over the years that it's only going up, it's only getting more adoption, and more people are joining. And this is beautiful. So since we started the X-Talks, so we're almost now going to our 4th year, which is kind of new, but the whole market is also somehow new. But since 2018 or 2019, and then the age of going into COVID, things has changed. We've got introduced to a lot of innovation also, which was helped by different protocols or different cryptocurrencies and or innovation environments to help us. There's a lot of context globally has changed. It's not the same anymore. So things are really moving. And then if you, later on, you'll see Ripple, they're trying to really disrupt not just the cryptocurrency market, but also the payments and trying to play a bigger role. And then now with the SEC, so we're there, we're moving forward. Looking back also at the banks, right? Banks has been now with the SEC. If you later on you'll see Ripple, they're trying to really disrupt not just the cryptocurrency market, but also the payments and trying to play a bigger role. And then now with the SEC, so we're there, we're moving forward.
So the crypto industry is moving very fast, moving quickly, growing very quickly, and especially companies like Ripple. Interesting to note Ripple specifically. I mean, they have been making waves over there at Davos. This is a clip of Brad Garlinghouse, tweeted out by Chad Steingraber, retweeting out Crypto Cowboy's tweet here. Tokenization of real-world assets is very real, and that other use cases of crypto will be profound. Guys, this is Davos 2024. I think we need to make sure we are focused on utility. One of the major themes for crypto adoption over there at Davos. Listen to this.
So, Brad, are payments still the best use case for crypto assets and technology that undergirds it? And what payments can lead to in terms of other use cases?
Well, for me, Ripple started with payments. Actually, when I joined the company 9 years ago, there were 3 different groups within the company working on an identity solution, a payment solution, and I'm forgetting the third one right now because that was a long time ago. But it was like, hey, let's focus on one where there's a clear It's solving a real problem. And look, while we've had a dent, maybe we've made a scratch in that market, it is a massive market. And I'm sure many people, by virtue of sitting in this room in Switzerland today, have had the experience of sending money overseas. It is still high friction, high error rate, it's slow, it's expensive. And that's the opportunity to use these technologies to actually make it much simpler, much faster, without sacrificing some of the core principles around KYC or AML or what have you. So I think the payments opportunity remains very large. It will continue to make progress. And when I say that, I mean both Ripple and the industry at large. There's other people approaching in different, some are going after consumer-based solutions. Ripple is very much focused on the enterprise and the infrastructure around that. There are, I think, going to be other use cases that are profound. I think the fact that there's now an ETF approved in the United States with major institutions like BlackRock leaning in is further validation, but I think we need to make sure that we're focused on utility. Some of the things I'm sure that people in this room have heard talked about, tokenization of real-world assets and democratizing access to the participation in those markets, I think is very real. Whether that's commercial real estate, and some are working on identity-based solutions and even voting-based solutions. I'm certainly not an expert on those things, but I think the blockchain-based solutions are here to stay, and I think in the coming years you'll see more and more real-world use cases gaining traction.
So payments, definitely number one. But guys, even Ripple is focused on utility. And of course, those other verticals that are going to make cryptocurrencies like XRP very, very valuable. So I wanted to thank Crypto Cowboy here and Chad Steingraber just for retweeting that originally. Now, I know everybody's been noticing Brad Garlinghouse's stylish boots. Boy, Davos 2024 bringing up the fashion critics. The Skywalk GTX boots apparently is what Brad Garlinghouse has been wearing. This one courtesy of Amelie here on Twitter. Did Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse really wear these Skywalker shoes at Davos 2024? Apparently he did. I mean, okay, all joking aside though, the XRP community has been noticing some interesting, takeaways from these Brad Garlinghouse interviews. Someone should call Gary Gensler's bluff, says Yassine Mubarak. File an XRP spot ETF application and dare the SEC government to reject it, especially at this point now that XRP is considered a non-security. It is the law today. Digital asset investor retweeting out just a short clip here of Brad Garlinghouse doing an interview. With regards to the XRP ETF, still it looks like, well, listen to this.
There were a couple of interesting things after that Bitcoin ETF was approved in that statement. One, and I paraphrase here, was effectively Gary Gensler saying, just because we allowed the Bitcoin ETF, don't think we're now going to allow a bunch of other crypto assets. The second interesting thing was the price of Ether skyrocketed immediately after, on hopes that there could now next be an ETH ETF. What are the chances of that?
I think it's a certainty.
This year?
I'm not going to put a horizon on the time, but I think there will be other ETFs for sure.
An XRP one?
There will be other ETFs for sure.
but an XRP one?
I love this game we play. Look, I am very
That's the last time I
lost. That's fine. But look, the sad part of that reality is we have a Bitcoin ETF only because a U.S. court said to the SEC, you're being arbitrary and capricious in your application of the law. What would be sad is if every ETF had to go through that same journey and for Gary Gensler to get smacked down by the U.S. court system again. That might be necessary, but again, at some point, I think Gary Gensler won't be the chair of the SEC, and that'll be a good thing for the American people.
So Brad cannot talk about a potential XRP ETF, but he is very clear. Gary Gensler does need to step down very quickly if we want this to move ahead. We got this from King Valix, two guys, Davos 2024. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse talks about stablecoin regulation and a few other things. So I was talking about stablecoin regulation earlier in this video. I've noticed an interesting theme here, guys. First, I'm going to play you guys this clip. It's a little lengthy, but listen to this, guys. Brad Garlinghouse on stablecoin regulation and a few other things at Davos 2024.
The SEC or the chair, Gary Gensler, changed their tone even after the approval of the Bitcoin ETF. There was a statement. Gary Gensler said he didn't endorse Bitcoin. He still called most other crypto assets securities. Is this posturing, or do you think there's a chance the SEC has changed its stance?
There's an expression about, one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and not expecting a different outcome. I think Gary Gensler is doing the same thing over and over again, and it thinks that somehow he's going to win in court. He has continued to lose in court. I do think the chair of the SEC, Gary Gensler, has become a political liability in the United States. And I think he's not acting in the best interest of the citizenry. He's not acting in the best interest of the long-term growth of the economy. And I don't understand it. And I think at some point, there will be a new chair of the SEC, and I think that'll be a good thing for the American people.
There's what the SEC does, and then there's what is going on in Washington amongst lawmakers. And those are linked but also separate. Now, the US hasn't passed any kind of comprehensive regulation around crypto assets at this point, unlike you see in the European Union with MiCA and some of the other jurisdictions you mentioned earlier as well, Dubai. But there are a number of bills trying to make their way through the lawmaking process. One of those is around stablecoins. There's a number of others as well. Do you think that in 2024 there is the political will, given it's an election year as well, to pass some of these bills and bring them into law?
I said earlier I don't like to predict things based on time, and this one I will. I think this year there will be legislation that passes. I won't be as predictive about which one. I think likelihood is that the stablecoin, clarity for stablecoin. I can't remember the name of the bill that has been going through the system in Washington D.C. But I think we will see that in part because the U.S. Treasury wants it. Right. I mean, I think the stablecoin market has really surprised people in some ways in terms of solving a real need. And I think it only makes sense for there to be regulatory clarity around that. I think that's good for the whole industry. And, one of the things you said earlier is, are there skeletons in the closet? The stablecoin market, because there hasn't been clear rules of the road, it'll be interesting as that comes to fruition. The two primary, obviously USDT and USDC, I think they are, here to stay, and I think you're going to see other entrants in that market too. You said before that the U.S. risks losing some of the leadership around this industry, that other countries have taken a lead, and a lot of that is due to what the SEC does and the fact there isn't clear regulation in the U.S. If the regulation does pass this year, if there's clearer rules for the road for the broader industry, does that help? Will the U.S. be able to compete with some of these other jurisdictions who took an early lead in this industry? For sure, yes. I don't think the market has passed the U.S. I think it has passing. And you are seeing, look, we have publicly shared over 70% of Ripple's hiring last year was non-U.S., despite the fact that there's still a majority of our employees in the United States. Why would we want to hire in a market where we have a hostile government? We have a government who won't provide the clarity we have asked for, where we had to fight for years and spend well over $100 million in the court system to fight them. So, there will continue to be a lot of activity, I think, in London, in Dubai, in Singapore, in some of the other, financial capitals of the world. But I think the U.S. eventually figures it out. I don't know how to predict what's going to happen in the election cycle, but no matter what, there's going to be, a shift, if you will. And I think we will see a shift at the SEC, hopefully to a new chair that is constructive and wants to work with the industry and not put their own agenda ahead of the American people's.
So a lot of things going on there. Brad Garlinghouse, very critical of the SEC, of course, but also mentions that stablecoin regulation, guys. Now remember, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, will be taking the stage, or has now taken the stage. This was yesterday, Tuesday, at Davos. Will be taking the stage alongside CFTC Commissioner Carolyn D. Pham. Guys, remember, Carolyn D. Pham is the CFTC Commissioner. So she's also very knowledgeable on this. Digital Perspectives here reinforcing this statement. Carolyn D. Pham is smart and she gets the larger implications of digital assets. This is who Brad Garlinghouse will be speaking with on the stage at Davos. So again, think about it in the context of stablecoins. Listen to this.
I think when you look at traditional schools of thought around geopolitical power, you have, of course, military power, and you have economic power, and you have the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. So I think people are very concerned that should, because of these innovations in digital assets, in particular, if there really is a movement towards certain stable coins, for example, payment stable coins that are not Clearly, they're not digital fiat because that would be a CBDC. And they're also not tokenized commercial bank money. And so if there's ambiguity over that regulation and over what those stablecoins might be, people are really worried that that's going to be a movement away from the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. And that is a national security issue for the United States, as well as a deeply monetary policy issue as well. So this is really, I think, things that people are thinking about, and it's things that people are concerned about. And I think there are also concerns about what does it mean, again, from a geopolitical perspective, if should another currency arise as the world's reserve currency, or if there's a non-state currency, so to speak, that becomes a world's reserve. That's another thing that I think people are very concerned about.
So, stablecoins potentially a national security threat, debasing the US dollar. These, again, are not CBDCs, guys. These are stablecoins, privately issued coins pegged to the US dollar. So, again, to Digital Perspective's point here, Carolyn D. Pham on the same page, the crypto regulation, Brad Garlinghouse echoing those same statements at Davos. Not only that, guys, we also have Dixon. I would love to see stablecoin legislation in the United States. Listen to this.
Well, and the industry is suffering as a result of the bad actors, and that's the big challenge. From a regulatory standpoint, there's really, I'd love to see stablecoin legislation in the United States. Some of us have been working really hard to make that happen. I hope it does in this first quarter. If it doesn't happen by the first quarter, it's not going to happen this year.
Wait, if it doesn't happen in the first quarter, it's not going to happen this year? She later comments here. I'll just finish off the clip.
And because of the election, we've seen great legislation in Europe that have tried to address some of these issues.
Okay, so basically, if it doesn't happen in quarter one, it's not going to happen this year, guys, because of the election. But stablecoin regulation, again, first and foremost for Dixon of Stellar, for Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, Carolyn D. Pham, a regulator at the CFTC, also echoing that same statement. And remember, when you type in is XRP the world's bridge currency, Google does spit this out. XRP, the ledger's native currency, acts as a bridge currency to increase the speed and reduce the cost of cross-border transactions. Using XRP as a mediator currency reduces the need for pre-funded accounts that enables more efficient transactions than was previously possible through traditional financial institutions. Guys, to my point and to the stablecoin regulatory clarity, the stablecoins are kind of that first and most crucial piece of the puzzle, I think, for the rest to fall in line. I think XRP and XLM will be widely utilized once that occurs, because if you have the regulation at that crucial point, everything else will follow after that. We will see more adoption of cryptocurrencies, especially for cross-border transactions. And just to finish it off, Brad Garlinghouse gives his final thoughts on 2024 and the future for Ripple. This one courtesy of Crypto Insight UK. Listen to this.
Just for the last 5 minutes, Brad, let's talk about Ripple, what your focus is this year, where you're going and the future. For 2024, where are you putting your energy?
Well, a couple things come to mind there. Obviously, our core product around Ripple Payments has continued to grow. And that's something we'll continue to invest in, more payout markets around the world. We, through an acquisition, entered the custody market in 2023. Certainly a lot of our investment, our incremental new investment in 2024 will be investing in the custody business.
Is that in anticipation of sort of some of these bigger investors getting into the markets? And
well, on one hand, I would say yes. However, there's already a tremendous amount of demand. That business is growing very quickly. We announced publicly just a month or two ago that HSBC is a new client of that business. So, these are big accounts as well as more mid-market accounts. The custody business is very real and is going to continue to grow nicely. I do think Ripple thinks about entering other vertical markets, so payments, custody. I think we'll do other things in 2024. Some of those will probably enter through acquisition. We've been super fortunate to have a very strong balance sheet at a time that the market has shifted and the valuations of a lot of these companies is not what it once was. That's been an opportunity for us.
So there you have it, guys. Payments, tokenization, custody. Obviously, all things Ripple is focused on. Dixon wants to see stablecoin regulation. Quarter one of 2024 seems to be the target date. And if we don't get it by quarter one 2024, what will happen next? I don't know, just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.